Hello friends, it's your girl Sarah here. Somebody said I shouldn't say I'm a girl. Okay, it's your woman here. So today we are back again and we're going to continue our Brochia Warrior series on the Words of Wisdom Forum. So I started this Abrochia Warriors a couple of weeks ago. We're talking about marriage abroad. Hi, the first person here. Thank you so much for coming. So we are continuing our series on marriage abroad. We started some few weeks ago. Just a quick recap. So the first week we talked about when people travel outside and they don't want to go back for their spouses, right? Some of them choose to marry and they leave their spouses. Others decide to just find somebody here and just marry. We also talked about a situation where somebody will be living abroad and will go back home to marry somebody they barely know or they barely knew. Hi, Kwachi, thanks for coming. And we talked about the dangers of going back home to marry somebody you didn't know before traveling, somebody you just been chatting on Facebook, you decide to go back home to marry. We talked about the dangers of it. We talked about getting papers, immigration papers when you travel outside, the whole wahala that comes with it, how some people had to do arranged marriages and the problems that, you know, are associated with this. We talked about traveling outside and not having any place to live, any shelter or anything, and somebody offering you a place to stay. Hi, Nana K. Hello, Emmanuel Chuba. Nana K, I know you are watching from Canada. Emmanuel, may I know where you're watching from? And I see Sunil Sunny. Please tell me where you are watching me from, okay? Or where you're joining from. Today is going to be very interactive as previously, you know, as all the previous discussions. It's going to be very interactive. Today we are talking about the situation whereby one spouse wants to go back home and the other spouse is not ready to go. Brazil! Wow! Emmanuel is watching from Brazil. Wow! Please say hi to them. And I didn't know you watch from Brazil. So please share the videos and bless others. So we're talking about living abroad, and okay, Osei Ansai is from Ghana. Thank you so much. Please let me know where you're watching from. So we are talking about a situation where one spouse is tired of living outside and wants to go back home, but the other spouse is not ready to go back home. This is a serious situation. It has been happening and it is happening to a lot of marriages. I asked for Ghana. I have so many examples. And somebody, the first time I posted it, a friend was like, why would I want to go back to Ghana? You know, or why would I want to go back to my home country? Things are so tough. Why do I want to go back? But I'm going to give you reasons why some people get tired of living abroad and they want to go back home. You know, when you come abroad initially, it's so fun. You know, you love the money you're making, the productivity, the opportunities. But after a while, you just get tired. You just get tired of living outside of your home country. I mean, you can do everything in your power to make this place your home. But sometimes somebody say home is home. You just want to go home. So one of the reasons why some people get tired of living outside, they want to go back home, is old age. So if you've lived outside for a while, you know the system here. When you are an elderly person, or we call senior, it gets to a point you become lonely because all your children will leave you. They are all busy. Nobody gets the time to take care of you. So the best solution is to take you to a senior home. So a senior home is just like a boarding house where you live with other seniors and they take care of you and everything. Once a while, your family will come and visit you. So you live in a senior home here. Unless you are strong, you have to pray that when you become, you know, a senior, you don't get sick or anything like that. Because if you get sick, you're not going to get anybody, not even your grandchild, to live with you to be taking care of you. No. That's not how the lifestyle is here. Like back home in Ghana, in Nigeria, wherever you're coming from, you know the system. We believe in this extended family system. So you hardly see an old person or a senior living all by themselves. Like when my daddy traveled, came to visit me, my neighbor is about 84 years. She lives all by herself. Another neighbor is about almost 70 years. She lives all by herself. And my daddy couldn't just phantom. He was like, how? Oh, you're dang, now, bro. Like, he just couldn't understand. He was like, how is it possible for a senior like 84 years to live all by herself? And I'm like, hey, massa, this is how life is here. So for most people, when they travel outside and they begin to see the hey, so when I become a senior, when I'm 70, 80 years, will my children send me to a senior home? No way, then I would rather go back home. So you talk to a lot of people, they are building back home. And I know if you're in Ghana, you're in Nigeria, you see most people living outside building their homes because they don't want to become old living abroad. Like, it's very frustrating. I talk to some of uncles and aunties, and some of them are like, me, they need how I don't want to grow here. I don't want my children to take me to the senior home. So with that motivation, most people make plans to go back home after some time. But the problem is that, well, most men want to go back home, but most women don't want to go back home. I mean, if I'm old, take me to a senior home, I don't mind. I would prefer to live in a senior home than to take me back to Ghana. That is the mindset of most women living abroad. But for most men, they would rather be home when they grow up. So that's one of the issues. The second one, the reason why some people get tired of living outside and they want to go home, it's PhD students. This one, I've done a research. I did my own investigation. And I'm telling you this, those who come to do their PhD outside here, most of them want to go back home. And I'll tell you why. So for example, I came here to do my master's in international relations. I'm doing another master's in counseling. As for the PhD, I'm not sure if I want to do, because I'm tired with all the children. It's tiring. Maybe in the future I might think of doing a PhD, but for now, 2 masters. Okay. But then I decide, okay, I want to do a PhD. I do my PhD. And then you complete your PhD and you realize that it's not easy out here to become a lecturer. It's not easy to become a professor here as an immigrant. I will not just say as an immigrant, but the whole process to become a professor is very tough here. So if you are doing your PhD, my friends who are doing their PhD, I always pray for you and I want to encourage you. But you should also be open that it's not as easy as it might be back home that, oh, immediately I finish my PhD, I'm just going to be a lecturer. It's not easy. Most people finish their PhD here and the best you can be is maybe a research assistant, as teaching assistant, you will not become what you want to be. It might take a while. So for most people, and in Ghana, like the University of Ghana, most of our professors, they came to do their PhD here and they went back home because they weren't getting the kind of job that they wanted. It happened to my sister. She went to Germany. She finished her PhD and she realized that she wasn't getting any school to lecture. I mean, she had to go and do any manual job and she was like, what? I won't finish PhD and just live in this town just doing manual jobs. So she decided to go back home. And good for her, her husband was understanding and they went back home. So some of my professors, like I did archaeology in Ghana, I did sociology, I did political science. And for political science, most of our lecturers, I don't want to mention them, most of them came to do their PhD. Think about it. Why didn't they stay after they did their PhD? Because they weren't getting the job. But you finish your PhD here and you go back home, the universities would actually be calling on you. Come and lecture us. So there are a lot of opportunities back home. They might not pay you as much as you'd be paid here. But at least, in Maslow's law of theory, needs of theory, he talks about the fact that when you get to a point, you reach self-fulfillment, self-actualization. It's no more about my bread and butter. It's no more about where I sleep, but it's about fulfillment in life, right? So you get to a point in your life, you realize that I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm not satisfied. So I want to go back home and feel important. So that is why most people at a point in time, they're like, I'm going back home. I'm going to lecture. I'm going to be a professor. There are a lot of universities back home. They would adore me. They will honor me. Why do I live here not being a teaching assistant? I want to go back home. So that's the second one. The third reason why most people will want to go back home after living outside for so long is politics. I mean, we all know the politics back home, with all the corruption and the bribery and the money they spend. So most people want to go back home for politics. I did international relations. I have never been interested in politics, even though I want to be a minister. Like, I know, not a minister in the church. I mean, I want to be a minister in the church as well, but I want to also be a state minister. But I'm not so much interested in all this political games, okay? Probably I have to come up with my own political party. That I accept. But like, I'm using Ghana as an example. All this NPP, NDC thing, they bore me. Like, they bore me, KK. I just don't want to have anything with them. But I wouldn't mind if somebody appoints me as a minister. I'm crazy, right? But for most people, they're interested in politics. So after school, they live here for some time. They make their money. They're like, hey, I'm going back home to do politics. I'm just going to join a political party. Who knows? I might become somebody. Like, I know somebody who went home because of politics. He felt that he will be important if he goes back home to do politics. And yeah, true to his words, now he's a minister of one of the ministers in Ghana. But initially it was a tough decision, because this man I'm talking to you about was living in the UK. He had a very good job, like good paying job. His wife was also paid very, very well. They had 2 little children. I think, yeah, they had 2 little children. At a point, the man felt that he wasn't fulfilled. I'm talking to you about the Maslow's need, right? He felt he wasn't fulfilled. So he said, I'm going back home to do politics. And I think there was a university in Ghana that wanted him to become a head or something like that. So in this case, the wife was like, I'm not ready to go back home, right? You want to go and do your politics, go back home and do your politics. But I'm not ready to leave UK to go to Ghana and follow you for some politics. I don't even know what is going to come up of it. So the man left. He left, he went to Ghana. First, he was the head of a university. He started doing committees. Now, I'm telling you, he's a minister in Ghana. I don't want to mention names. Now that he's a minister, the wife is all excited. Oh, my husband is the minister of blah, blah, blah in Ghana. So now once a while, she goes back home. We'll talk about it in detail. But these are the reasons why. So old age, school, like a PhD student, politics. And the other reason is also ministry. Okay, those pastors and church leaders, prophets who feel there's a calling on themselves, on their lives. So when you live out here, doing ministry here is quite difficult. Even paying for the accommodation, the room, it's so expensive. So some people feel, I have a calling on my life. Why don't I go to Ghana and start a ministry? So initially, for most couples, when they go into ministry, for most of them, if it sounds so laudable, it sounds so refreshing, spirit-led. So like, yeah, let's go do ministry, but I'm not going. You are the man, go and start ministry. When it's booming or something like that, I'll come and join you. It also comes with its own trouble, because now the man is going back home to Africa, to the home country, to start the whole ministry church thing. And you, the wife, you are not there to support him. We know how this ministerial things have, really disturbed or separated a lot of couples. Initially, it felt good. Let's go and do ministry. Go and do ministry. I'll be here. But at the end of the day, they end up divorcing, because marriage is actually supposed to be the 2 of you living together. We'll talk about that. And the other one is business, of course. I've got a lot of money. I want to go and start a business in Ghana, in Nigeria. So I'm going back home to do business. That's how it all starts. Now, the reason why the other partner might refuse to join the spouse if they decide to go back home, first of all, is work. So let's say I am in my 30s, right? I'm working, and by the time maybe I'm 40, I've gotten a promotion or something like that at work. I'm doing well. I'm paid well. Especially if the person is a nurse, you have to be careful because nurses are paid so well here. They are paid huge sums of money for their salary. So if your spouse is a nurse doing so well here, and then you tell your spouse that I want to go back to my home country, follow me, it's hard for the person to leave their job and follow you because the first thought is, okay, now you're telling me to go back home, leave abroad, go back home. What kind of work am I going to do? Okay, you might be here and in your 2 weeks salary is more than the manager in Ghana. Like you might just be a customer service person or, you know, a low-key job, but you might be paid more than somebody who is a manager, a bank manager or something like that in Ghana or in Africa or wherever back home is. So now your spouse is telling you that leave your job, follow me back home. And the women are like seriously, I am not leaving. It's even worse when they get promotion, they become head of organization. Just think of it. It will be hard for the woman to just leave her job just to follow you. Unless, of course, you have plans for her. And we'll talk about. So most spouses are not ready. Please, if you are following, give me a thumbs up or say something so that I know you are there. You are listening to me, okay? Please. And tell me if you agree with me or not. Or if you've had similar issues or not. So please, let's communicate. Okay, thank you for the star. Emmanuel, Ose, Ansa, Sonel, if you are there, please say something to me so I know you are there. Nana K, are you still around? Okay, so the first one, they don't want to go back is because of work. The second one is children. Like, I know, thank you for the thumbs up. Kwachi, are you there? Let me know you are there. Okay, thank you. So the other reason why most people will not want to join, all the bullets are on point. Okay, thank you, Nana K, thank you. So the other one is children. Like, most people will not want to go back home, especially the women will not want to go back home when children are involved. Because you think about the opportunities. Well, research point. All right, thank you, Nana K. That's very encouraging. All right, so you think about children. Your children are doing well here, like me. Kwache. Okay, your children are doing well here. They are having opportunities. You know, maybe they are just about finishing school. You are thinking of the university they will attend, the high school, and then just in the middle of that, your spouse comes back and say, "I want to go back home." So to the woman, it's like, no, our children are involved. I'm not ready to take them out of school. I want to take care of them. Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of women in this situation. They're like, I'm not ready. You know, the children, where they are is a very critical stage in their life. And so I can't just leave them and just follow him back home. So they agree, okay, why doesn't the man go? And then the woman will stay behind and take care of the children. But at the long run, all these things do not help. And I'm going to go there. So children might be a reason. Like I've not gotten to that stage. So I don't know what I will do when I get there. But definitely children are legit reasons. Legit reasons why somebody would not want to go back home. Well, we'll talk about the solution very soon. The third one is that for most people, they just don't want to go back home. Like, if you're mumu, like Ghana or Nigeria or they have no interest to just go back home. Like, when they think of their life, when they think of doomsaw, like doomsaw is when, you know, light out. Like, here, hardly do we experience doomsaw. Like, I don't remember the last time, I think last week there was a storm, and that one is just about 5 minutes. My friends in Canada, please attest. Like, in US, you hardly get light out. So it's like the kind of life people build up here, and you compare it to going back home, the person is no. I'm not saying going back home is bad. No, we'll talk about the solutions, because I would love to go back home, I'm telling you. But then some things you enjoy out here, they are not the same when you go back. I mean, the whole lifestyle. So for some women, they're like, me go ahead and Ghana. Like, I've spoken to people like, me go ahead and Ghana. Me go ahead and Africa. What am I going to do there? Like, I'm not going there. And for such women, no matter what you do, they will not go. And this thing is, it goes vice versa. It might be the woman who want to go back home and the man says, me, I will never go. Like, I know a friend of mine, I don't want to mention his name. He said, like, what? Why am I going back home? I am not going. So for such a man, no matter what you do, he will not go back home. The fourth one is when the person was born here. Oh, wow. Who is this lady? The lady giving me thumbs up. Can you say hi? I want to get your name. I think it's the first time seeing you here. Okay, so the last one is when they were born here. So let's say you get married to... Okay, thank you. Please say hi. I want to get your name. So let's say that you are married to a white lady. Oh, Lucy White. Hi, Lucy. May I know where you're watching from? Are you watching... What? Tell us your country, please. I would really appreciate it. This is the Words of Wisdom Facebook forum. We are also on Instagram. Oh, this is your first time. Okay, please give us feedback, and this page is very interactive. We are talking about when one spouse wants to go back home and the other is not. Oh, from Ghana. Nice. Thank you. Please share. So maybe your spouse is living outside. Maybe you want to travel outside. We've had a lot of series on this. Please take the time to go back to the videos, and I believe it's going to bless you. So as I was saying, you're married to a white person, or you're married to somebody, India, wherever, and you just get up one day and you say, I want to go back home. It sounds unreasonable, why? Right? Like, I know some white women. Okay, great. I know some white women don't mind following you back home. I mean, in Ghana or in Nigeria, I believe you have seen a lot of white women who come there to live with their husband. Like, for example, a friend of mine went to Korea. He's married to a Korean lady. And I've heard that Korean ladies are one of the, like, those women are so humble. They are one of the best women you can ever marry. Korean women. I give them thumbs up. If you are here and you are from Korea, thumbs up. Those women, I hear they are so humble, they are so understanding. So my friend married one. He went back home after his PhD, as I was talking to you about, and the lady joined him. So he is in Ghana now with his wife from Korea. But for most people, they will not go. Especially you marry somebody who is also a Ghanaian. You know, the family are Ghanaian, but they were born here. Most of them will not go back home with you because this is their life. They grew up here, their family is here, so it just doesn't make sense for them to leave everything behind just to follow you back home because you think you're tired living outside. They will not go. And the most painful, or I would say annoying part is when the person was not born here, but they came to live here for some time. Like, I'm talking about somebody who wasn't born out here. They came here like me, and now they are feeling the vibe here. You tell them to go, they will not go. So I can go on and on with the reasons why somebody want to go and while the other person doesn't want to go. But at the end of the day, whatever decision you take, please know that it comes with a lot of consequences on the family and on the marriage. And that is where we are getting into right now. So a lot of these things, when it happens like that, one would definitely decide, I'm going, I'll leave you behind. Like when I was traveling here, I met a friend and he was telling me, I think I've said it before, that Sarah, as you're going, please marry like a Ghanaian. I didn't understand. And then he kept telling me his story that he used to live in the US for years and he brought his wife along. They had children, but later on he felt life wasn't good for him in US. He wanted to come back home to do, now he has his own production team and everything. The wife never joined him. So he was like, as he's talking right now, they can't tell whether they are still married or not. And that is what happens with a lot of marriages when it happens like that. Because it's like, are we getting divorced or not? and their marriage, we be say hanging. It's just hanging. You don't know whether they are married or not, because how can one partner be living somewhere and the other partner is living somewhere for years? Like, this is not just something that happens for months, for years. So for most people, okay, the man will go, the woman will be here, and then once a while the man will come and visit, or the woman goes to visit. But after they do this, come and visit, go and visit for some time, they get tired. And before you know, a whole year has passed, one has not visited the other person. 2 years has passed, no visits. And then, you know, a whole lot of things happen. I'll give you one example. This distance relationship marriage, because one person want to go, one person want to stay. Lots of the women now have come to a point where they have accepted that, hey, okay, live in your Ghana or live in your Nigeria, let me live in my US, but I give you permission to go for girlfriends. The first time I heard this, I was shocked and I was amazed at the same time. Like, it happened to my friend. And that is why we see a lot of slay queens. If you don't know why we have a lot of slay queens, this is one of the main reasons. Because the slay queens are there to satisfy these men that do not have their wives around. I'll always use Ghana as an example. Most of the politicians have their family back home, abroad. Sometimes you might think it's just because of the financial thing, like because they have money, they take their family back there. No, it's because their wives are not ready to come back home. They are not ready. Because like living back home, if you have money, I would say you can do anything. If you have money living back home, you can live your life as if you are living abroad. But the problem is that their wives are not ready to join their husbands. So they now accept that, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. You can even go for a girlfriend. I'm okay with this. As long as we are not divorced, we are on paper that we are married, I'm okay with this. And I'm, wow. Like, my friend met a man, he's living in Ghana, like back home, he's doing so well. So my friend felt, you know, he has connections and all that. Why don't I get to know him more? Before she knew, the man kept asking her, will you be my girlfriend? She was like, you told me you are married, your children live outside, you have children. Why do you want me as a girlfriend? And the man was like, oh, my wife has given me the go ahead. My friend was so shocked. She was like, what? And you know, what even broke the camel's back was that she visited the man, and the man said, oh, my wife wants to talk to you. Like joke. The wife spoke to my friend and was like, oh, mommy, me couldn't say, we any papa, like, calling my friend mommy. My husband says you're a very good woman. Please, why don't you accept to be his girlfriend? I want a good girl for my husband. Like, these things do not sound well in the ears, but these are the things that are happening. And I realized that for most women, after a while of marriage, they seem not to care about their marriage any longer. Like for us, so like you look at this old elder women or older women, and they look at we the young ones like myself or like you in our 30s and all consumed with marriage, they just laugh at us. Like, I have seen a lot of it, like women who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, when they see we, the young ones, so happy about marriage, they tend to laugh at us. And like, why are you laughing at me? Like, they think, oh, Mudia, oh yeah, Kwache, yeah, serious. Like, I'm going to go into this. I didn't intend to go into it, but I'm telling you, that most women, especially in their 50s and 60s, they don't care about their husbands. They don't care about their marriage. Because after all, especially when they have grown-up children, they have children. As they are well established, they have good jobs, their children they have grown-up children, they are having their peace of mind. They don't care about their husbands. They don't care about the marriage any longer. So it's like, whatever you, the man, you want to do, do. And that is where our generation has gotten into. Like, that is where the generation has gotten, because for most women, when they are in their menopause, number one, they don't like sex. So you, the man, being around, coming to touch them, no cry, like, it's worrisome for them to have a man. I know some women like sex. They are in another category. But for majority of women in their 50s or 60s, they don't like sex. They don't want to have anything to do with a man. So they don't care what the man does. But it worries me because We shouldn't forget that we are accountable. God will hold us accountable for everything we do. That man that is your husband, God is going to hold you accountable for his life. So it's not enough for you to say, I don't care, whatever he wants to do, he should do. And now you are arranging girlfriends for them. I know women who do this. I know women who do this. It's like, I don't want to have sex with him. You can go and have any of these young girls and sleep with. As long as I can still be called Mrs., I am okay. This is terrible. You are not helping your man. And one day God is going to ask you of it. So my friend was surprised that this woman on phone was telling her that, please accept to be my husband's girlfriend, because I'm not ready to come down here. Neither is he ready to come and visit. And because I don't want him to go about chasing women, I want you to be his girlfriend. I'm going to provide you everything you need. Become part of our family. Like seriously, even polygamy cry or kowari no cry, even if the man is going to get married to her, it's still not accepted. Okay, because Jesus made it clear that in the beginning it was not so. I know some prophets going about saying that, oh, the Old Testament, Moses married this, Isaac married this number of wives, Solomon married this number of wives, so it's okay. It's not okay. When Jesus came, Jesus said, in the beginning it was not so. He says that that's why God made them male and female, and said that is why a man leaves the house to be joined to his wife. He didn't say to be joined to their wives, his wife. So please, if you are a woman listening to me and you find yourself in this situation where you are tempted to think, oh, Opa girlfriend, you should go for a girlfriend, I'm okay. You are not helping the marriage. You are not helping your marriage. If you've gotten to a point where you no longer care about your marriage. Lucy says, I can't marry and live far from my husband, or him living far from me. I know, we all say it, but circumstances. I think Nana K, can you say something to Lucy? Lucy, we all don't want to, but sometimes it's circumstances. But that's where I'm going to the solutions. Solutions. Like when I was getting married, our intention was that I would travel and come and do my master's while my husband would be in Ghana, and then I'll go and join him. And then I grew up in the Catholic church, right? I was literally raised by Catholic nuns, Roman sisters. It's amazing how I didn't become a Roman sister. Please, I will talk about this later. But the Reverend sister was like, Mommy, how do you guys intend to marry? You're going to get married and you will travel and leave your husband. This is not marriage. And it struck me, somebody is laughing at me. I was going to be a Roman sister. I was going to be a Roman sister. We'll talk about it later. But I think God knows best. He knows actually, this girl Roman sister, I can't be a Roman sister. Please don't tell anybody. But like, she was like, this is not marriage. You can't marry and leave your husband. Live outside, leave your husband. Please stop laughing at me. You can't marry and live somewhere and your husband lives. This is not marriage. And it struck me. So I began to pray that God, I don't want to live apart from my family for long, my husband for long. I mean, it can be for a while, but please bring us together. And that is where I want us to go to. If you come to a point where you need to make this decision, where one person wants to go back home, one person wants to stay, I want you guys to decide as a family, as a unit. Don't come to a point where, and this is where the danger comes in, never come to a point as couples where you decide alone. Please. And I'm even saying this to newly married couples, people who are now going to get married, or people who are already married. Whenever you get to a point where the man decides, I'll do whatever I want, the woman decides, I will do whatever you want, I can assure you, you are at the brink of divorce. Because the Bible says the two shall become one. So anytime the two then decide to become two, you are at the point of breaking the marriage. Decide as a family. Decide as one unit. Which way is the best way? Do we all have to go back home? Should one stay and one go? Or should we not even go at all? Like these things even have spiritual connotations. Sometimes we ignore it. I remember when I was about to complete my education, I became so obsessed. I want to go back home. I think it's in my family. I didn't want to live abroad again. I wanted to go back home. I wanted to go back home. And my husband was like, what has come over you? What is all this? I want to go home. I want to go home. Let's try and start something. That's you just, I know you don't get what you want. Yeah, Nana K, that's right. Sometimes life happens, you don't get what you want. That's why we always have to pray about everything. Like as I was saying my story, I completed school here in 2015, 2016. I wanted to go back home. Like for some reason, nothing in me wanted to live in Canada. And my husband had just gotten a job and he could see prospect. He was literally, begging, why do you want to go back home? What kind of job are you going to go do? You need to plan before you go. I mean, I was always sad. I was always complaining. And then a friend of mine called me. Apparently, she had a dream. So I'm telling you, these things are serious. My friend had a dream and she called me and she was like, Sarah, I had a dream that you were having problems with your husband. I said, hey, me, what problems? And then I said, hey, me, I remember Clementine. I'm like, what kind of problem? Because it hadn't gotten to a point where we're having issues. But I was just ranting and lamenting that I want to go back home. And then my friend said, I had a dream that you were having issues with your husband, that you were insisting that you want to go back to Ghana, and he was saying you shouldn't go back to Ghana. And then she told me that, Sarah, if you want your marriage to work, listen to your husband and stay. Because if you insist that you want to go back home, that might be the end of your marriage. She saw everything in the dream. And it was puzzling. Like, when she told me that, I was like, wow. I called my husband like, hey, this is the dream somebody has had. And he was like, I told you. And I realized that, hey, it's so important as a couple to plan together, to decide on one thing. Make sure you agree. The Bible says that can two walk together unless they agree. Make sure you agree on any decision that you take. If it becomes so important that one has to go back home and one has to stay, make sure both of you agree and pray about it that it will work out. But if you are not praying about it, you just separate with anger, the man just packs his bags and go, and the woman just stayed. I tell you, that is the beginning of a divorce. Make sure you are planning together. Make sure you are deciding on this together and choose the best option. You shouldn't come to a point where you are being selfish. Okay, in counseling, we get a lot of couples coming, having difficulty deciding. But at the end of the day, you realize that both of them want whatever they want because of their selfish interest. They are not thinking about the other person. Lucy says that will be difficult though, especially when we're young and just newly married. Yeah, I know. So in your case, Lucy, if you know that you can't live away from your husband, it will be difficult for you. You need to decide on that before you marry. And then when you marry and such a thing happens, please stay together and pray about it. Because you don't want to get married for years and just because of this, the two of you are going to, divorce and break up and all that. And the one other issue is that when one person is living somewhere and the other person is living the other way, initially it feels like, oh, Baba Besra, he will come and visit every 6 months. She will come and visit a year. And as I said, after a while, they get tired. You don't hear from each other. And before you know, the other person has gone to impregnate somebody else or is seeing another girl. Basa. So as much as this is a difficult decision, I believe that when the couple decide and agree on something, it will work for you. And try your best not to be separated for so long. Try your best not to be separated for so long. Like I'm saying this for my men who are in ministry. For most husbands, when they are in ministry, they think, me or suffer, this thing cannot happen to me. So let's say you are living with your wife in Ghana, and then an opportunity comes for you to become a minister in the US. And then you leave your wife in Ghana, you go to the US. please, you have to ensure that at least a year or two, your wife is joining you wherever you are. At least. It's difficult, as Nanake would say. Situations happen. But your marriage is equally important. It has to become a priority. Your marriage is your first ministry. So you can't say ministry, and just let your family become dispersed and separated and destroyed. Because the marriage can, the devil can use your marriage to destroy you at the first point. So that's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I know most people don't want to hear is to compromise. And especially for the woman to compromise. Edu baby, sometimes I know women, we push with our right and everything, but when it comes to marriage and you try pushing, you try doing everything for your man to understand, and your man just doesn't seem to get it, you, the woman, you need to submit and compromise. You wouldn't hear a lot of people say this to you, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like, why should the ministers are keenly listening? Okay, Minister Lamore, thank you very much. So I'm saying that you have to make sure that wherever you are, especially as ministers of God, you have your spouse with you. It's very, very important. Never let anything come between your way that you will send one here, the other person will be here. That's the beginning of problems in your marriage. So I was talking about compromising here. Please, my dear women, like when you look at the statistics of people who follow this page, majority of us are between 25 and 34. That is the majority of people who listen to me. And I know within this range, most of you are married. Most of you are also planning on marrying. Please, when decisions become tough at home, you, the woman, no matter how you think you're right, no matter how you think what you're saying is right, if the man is becoming so stubborn, they don't want to listen to you, you know, they just don't want to agree, please prayerfully submit and compromise. So let's say you are a manager of a big company in the UK, in the US, and your husband is just feeling the strong edge that they think that you guys should go back home. It will be hard for you to resign. It will not make sense, because it's like, am I going to start all over again? But if this is what is going to save your marriage, you need to compromise. You need to submit, especially when the man says that, I think we should go back home. I know what I'm saying might not make sense, but I believe that the wisdom of God is here, the presence of God is here. We need to learn to submit. Sometimes you might get your husband to listen to you. Sometimes you might get your husband to ponder over whatever you're saying and accept it. But some men are so stubborn. Like, some men have this ego that they would never listen. I just have war many, unless they have done it to see the consequence before they would know that their decision were wrong. So in that case, you, the woman, what you prayerfully support him and compromise. What I do sometimes, like when I got married initially, and sometimes when I'm trying to like get my husband to do something and he's like, no, I'm like, I've given all the points and he still say no. I just take it to the Lord in prayer, because I believe that God's voice is higher than mine, and God knows exactly how to communicate to him. I didn't intend to say this, but I believe this will save our marriages. There is no point fighting your husband, fighting him, you know, trying to give reasons why he's being stupid in court or he's not making the right decision. He will listen to you. He won't listen, especially when the man feels that you are trying to be the man in the house. They won't listen to you. Even if what you're saying is right, they won't listen. So there's no point arguing. Take it to the Lord in prayer. The Lord knows how to talk to them. So if you think that your husband's decision to go back home is not the right thing, or maybe you are in Ghana, your husband wants to travel, he wants to travel, you know, he's just looking for any means to travel, and you feel that traveling is not good for him. You've said everything. He thinks that, no, I need to travel, I have businesses. You know, sometimes this is coming to my mind. Maybe your husband is even trying to go into business partnership with somebody, and you feel that this business partnership is not going to work, yet they won't listen to you. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Tell the Holy Spirit to talk to them. I believe that is what Mary did when Joseph got angry with her. we are entering into Christmas. In fact, we are in Christmas. When Joseph realized that Mary was pregnant, no matter what Mary would say, Joseph would not listen. Right? It's like, okay, let's divorce amicably, quietly, nobody's going to hear. Even if Mary had said, I tell you, I swear, we are not supposed to swear, I never slept with any man, this is from God, Joseph would have never believed. It took God to minister to Joseph's heart. So my dear women, we should let our marriage become our priority. No matter how old you think you are, and I know some elderly women listen to me, like I'm very young, and I feel privileged that people who are 60s, 50s, 65 listen to me. Mummies, please, don't get to a point where you think marriage, the man is no more important to you, or the marriage is no more important to you. God is going to hold you accountable. You are going to give reports for that man that God gave you. Please don't get to a point where he's no more important to you and you just leave him to do whatever he wants to do. Let's take it to the Lord in prayer. Let's ensure that we have the best of God's decision, God's plan for our life. And I believe that when we do this, it's going to save our marriages. We shouldn't become selfish. It's all about me, the promotions I'm getting, the opportunities I'm getting, how I feel, what I want. It's about us. Is this going to help us? And to the men too, please don't feel I'm the man. So then you just get up and you take decisions. You are also the head of the home, and God is going to hold you accountable for your family. God is going to hold you accountable for the woman he gave you. If God gives you a woman and you don't take good care of her, you cause her to fornicate, you cause her to do adultery, God is going to hold you accountable. Let's learn to be humble and talk as spouses and pray about every decision to be sure that we are convinced that this is the right thing to do. And I believe that if God gives us approval that I think you guys can do this at this point in time, nothing will come between us. No matter what, our marriages will not break. God bless you for making time. If anybody has something to say, hey, Bra Boache is here. Thank you for coming. Bra Boache, would you ever want to go back to Ghana? I doubt. So please, if you have anything else to say, kindly put it here. Lucy says, amen. Thank you. If you have anything else to say, please post and kindly share. Kindly share, because I believe these things help people a lot. Maybe you are struggling with your marriage at this point. Maybe you are at a crossroad. You don't know what decision to make. I believe these things can help you. The two of you should pray about it. Make a decision as a couple, not as individuals. And your marriage is going to stand. Thank you so much for making time to listen to me or to contribute for the WOW Facebook forum. Next year, we will start again with our Brochawari. There's so much to talk about. We want to talk about when it comes to supporting home, sending money home. We want to talk about when couples decide to bring their children outside for school. As so much is going on, but we will start next year. Thank you so much for making time. Please, if you need to talk to me, kindly DM me and I'll give you my WhatsApp number is also on the page. Feel free to WhatsApp me. Let's get talking and God bless you all. Love you. Bye. Merry Christmas.